some people are wondering, like, wait a minute, so we're just gonna have a Clayface movie, a Batman villain, and we don't even have like a date or anything for a true introduction to the DCU Batman? And I'm going like, yes, we do not. And I think that is the way to go. This Clayface movie. The Clayface movie. What's happening with the Clayface movie? Why is there a Clayface movie? What is going on? There's so many questions, so many things. And I will say right off the bat, I think this is great. We heard last year that Mike Flanagan, almost said Matt Flanagan, I don't know why, but Mike Flanagan, we heard that he was like pitching a Clayface movie, and who better to do that than Mike Flanagan? Because if you've watched anything that he's done, his shows, the Midnight Mass, he did Dr. Sleep. He's just, the guy knows how to do horror, and it's not so much that it's like monster horror, but it's just horror. He knows how to do horror. I forgot what the other Netflix series, couple of series that he's done. Anything that I've watched from him is just freaking awesome. So to get Flanagan to do a Clayface movie, it's interesting because then everybody's like, well, does this take place in Matt Reeves' universe or is it a DCU? Well, finally, it got confirmed by James Gunn that it is, in fact, going to be in the DCU. And I was like, all right, that makes so much more sense, because it just didn't make sense to me that much that it would fit in Matt Reeves' universe, because if they're going to do the modern version of Clayface, it just doesn't really fit in Matt Reeves' universe. Now, the Silver Age Clayface, that could work. And we've talked about that many times. It could work because it just fits in that world. It's more grounded. It's not the big, huge shape-shifting monster. Some people are wondering, like, wait a minute, so we're just going to have a Clayface movie, a Batman villain, and we don't even have like a date or anything for a true introduction to the DCU Batman? And I'm going like, yes, we do not. And I think that is the way to go. So many of the people that when James Gunn got hired on and was going to do this and going to do that, and then when things were starting to build up and everything like that, they kept on saying, everybody that were like going and not believing, like, the fact that what James Gunn was going to end up doing, there was like, oh, he's just going to bring the Marvel formula to DC. It's going to be Marvel. It's going to be Marvel. It's going to be Marvel. Well, I hate to break it to you. This is nothing like Marvel. I mean, we're technically starting off the DCU with a fucking hard R-rated animated series, which, yes, it's weird. I totally get that. It is a weird thing. You're not going to find that over at Marvel Studios for sure. And the fact that Creature Commandos is actually going, well, shit, Cersei, maybe she shows up at Superman. Clayface is going to show up. We saw it in the trailer, and now he's going to get his own movie. And then it's like, okay, but they haven't introduced Batman yet. Yeah, okay, perfectly fine. You're talking about, okay, so when you have Batman, which is like arguably one of the most popular superhero out there, okay? I think it goes Batman and Spider-Man, and sometimes it switches. I don't know, but I would say like Batman. So when DC has Batman as their most popular character, how do you reintroduce him into, yet again, because you already have a current Batman in the Reevesverse? I do not think that there's going to be a combination or a merging. I know some people are talking about that right now. Having a Clayface movie that's horror-centric, and the fact that Mike Flanagan, I don't know why I keep on wanting to call him Matt. Mike Flanagan wants to, that really loves the Batman the Animated Series episodes of Clayface, and he's going to do like a horror style and a tragic story when it comes to that character. You better believe that there's going to be a Batman kind of presence in it. And what better way to just be like, okay, so if we're not going to just introduce Batman in his own movie, fine. Introduce Batman in other ways. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's really, and I've been thinking that ever since 2016? I don't know if you remember a little movie called Batman vs. Superman, where, yeah, when it came to the DCEU, guess what? Zack Snyder was like, no, let's not, we don't have to do a solo Batman yet. What if Batman is the villain of Man of Steel 2? He has been on record on saying that. He's been quoted on saying that. That's what the pitch was, because he wanted to do something different. Let's just not have a Batman movie where it's like, okay, here's Batman. We know, maybe we'll show show the parents dining again and blah, blah, blah. Zach wanted to be like, well, we could expand the universe by, instead of just like, okay, instead of doing like, oh yeah, Man of Steel 2, could it be, we could do like something where it's a solo Superman again? No, well, what if we expand the universe and have Batman as the villain? And essentially, Batman was the villain for, well, at least, for most of the movie until, eventually the end. But that's what I loved about Batman versus Superman, is essentially it's like, okay, you're introducing Batman who's already been around, and you don't need like his own movie. Eventually, he was supposed to get his own movie, of course. But at the same time, it's like, oh yeah. But when it came to Batman versus Superman, it was like, okay, yeah, we bring Batman in. Essentially, he's the villain to Superman. A different way to introduce Batman into this world. So then when I'm kind of going like, oh, so if we have like a Batman villain that has never been on the big screen, we're gonna have a story based on him. You better believe that there's probably gonna be some kind of Batman presence in there. And by the time that movie comes out, we're already gonna have the Batman cast, and probably Brave and the Bold's already gonna be in production by the time it comes out. So there's already going to be a Batman in there, and they can have him in there. But Dave, why would you want to have a movie that's centralized on a villain as opposed to Batman? Have you seen any of the Tim Burton movies? Have you seen them? Can we agree that the Tim Burton movies are not Batman centered? They are villain centered, to the point where you can actually find an interview with Tim Burton who goes, yeah, I'm more fascinated by the villains than I am Batman. He has said that. Apparently the reported budget in there, and who knows if it's true, but I'm just saying, if the reported budget is any kind of indication of like, okay, doing things right, then 100%, this is totally right. Apparently it's supposed to be $40 million budget for the Clayface movie. That is awesome. That is amazing right there, because, well, how much does it need to actually start making a profit? 120 million, because there's some people like, why would they do these off the cuff characters? They could do them for cheap. And if the script's really good, and if things are really good, hey, we have a horror boom that's happening right now. When it comes to the horror genre, it is booming right now. So why not inject that into the DC universe? And you're going to have something like Clayface, which is a horror and, drama kind of thing that's going to be happening. You have a good story, which I'm sure it's going to be, because it's Mike fucking Flanagan. People are going to go out to see that, and it could make its entire money back in one weekend. And hopefully it does, because obviously they're going to market it with a little bit of Batman, especially if he ends up showing up in it. They're going to market it with a little bit of Batman. And I'm like going, all right, this is where it's different. And this is where it's like, okay, this actually kind of makes sense to me. So that was just my thoughts when it came to all that. That's just my thoughts when it came to all that.